What's up YouTube, it's Sean here and I'm here today to give you guys a review of the Adidas Crazy Infinity 2.5 in this chalk colorway. So this is a brand new sneaker silhouette that released from Adidas, and though it features Adidas basketball branding, it's actually part of Adidas's Originals line, so this is purely a casual use shoe. It's not recommended to be used on the basketball court. So the official name of the shoe is actually Crazy Infinity with 3 eyes as a nod to the Adidas 3 stripes, and this pays homage to the Adidas Crazy line, also known as the Adidas Kobe line, which debuted back in the year 2000. So I don't know what it means when a sneaker design from 2000 actually looks pretty in style today. Maybe Adidas was just ahead of their time, but overall from a design standpoint, I think this shoe looks pretty dope as it is today. So these released a few weeks back for a price of $160 US, and as of right now they haven't released here in Canada, but I believe the equivalent Canadian price should probably be around 220 Canadian dollars. And while the nickname of the shoe is Chalk, the official colorway for this shoe is Talc, Core Black, and Pulse Olive. So the name of the shoe is the Crazy Infinity 2.5. So I assume it's some sort of variation between the Adidas Kobe 2 and the 3, which actually never released. But I've seen online images of a sample pair of that Kobe 3. But honestly, I think the shoe really resembles the Kobe 1 a lot more. Anyways, so diving into the details. Starting things off with the toe box, you'll see this is covered with this rubber overlay in this off-white color. We have the Adidas logo in the middle, along with these 3 vertical grooves, paying homage to the Adidas 3 stripes. Covering the sides of the shoe, we have these large, thick layers of EVA foam, and this has a bit of a rough texture to it to the touch. And then engraved away from the foam on both sides of the sneaker, once again we have the Adidas 3 stripes here as well. And then on the back of the shoe, we have another overlay of rubber, and this basically acts as a heel tab, giving you added structure and support for the back end of the shoe. And above this rubber layer, we have a reflective 3M layer, which wraps around the back, but in its natural state, it looks like a plain cream colored layer. Covering the majority of the upper of the sneaker, we have this fine mesh overlay, which can be zipped open down the middle of the shoe. So you can see we have this zipper closure, and the edges of the mesh are reinforced and lined with this layer of synthetic leather. As I unzip the shroud underneath this, you'll see we have a much more conventional looking sneaker. So the upper portion is covered in this rough mesh, and we have these black colored woven lace loops. And then beneath this, surrounding the upper of the shoe, we have this reflective 3M layer in black, along with what feels like a synthetic nubuck layer underneath this. So this inner collar area of the shoe is very well padded, and there's an additional layer that's disconnected from the sides, and this supports and cradles the back Achilles area of your foot. As far as the laces go, so these only come with one lace option, and they're a rope style lace in black. The tongue is constructed in that same rough mesh layer that we saw earlier on the sides of the shoe, and we have these synthetic nubuck overlays which help to hold the laces in place. Here we have the Adidas logo embroidered in yellow, and then the top of the tongue is covered in more of a fine nylon material, which feels much silkier and softer to the touch. And this tongue overall is pretty well padded as well. So the interior of the shoe is lined in that same soft, silky nylon material. And then as far as the insoles go, these come with a standard foam line insole, which is pretty thin to the touch. It's finished in a black layer on top, and despite the shoe being a casual use shoe, we actually have Adidas basketball branding, which is stamped onto the heel, which was an interesting decision to say the least. And then if you peel the insole away, you can see that your foot basically sits atop this EVA foam layer, which is housed within the midsole of the shoe, but it's hidden away obviously because we have these large foam layers on the sides. Finally, turning this pair over to the bottom, so this outsole is done in this milky, semi-translucent rubber, and we have this herringbone style traction pattern that runs from heel to toe. We have these 3 circular hits of rubber on the forefoot, along with this olive or yellow colored stripe which runs down the heel. And in the middle, underneath the rubber, this shiny black layer acts as a torsion plate, giving you that torsional rigidity and midfoot support. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this pair. And for those wondering about sizing, I know this is a very hot topic. People are wondering, how do these shoes fit? And for me, I feel like these are a snug fitting shoe. So my foot measures as a true size 10, slightly on the wider side, and I got these in a size 10.5 after hearing a lot of recommendations from people that said they fit really snug. So getting these a half size up, for me at least, I'd say that was the right decision. Going half a size up, I only had about a finger's width between the top of the shoe and the top of my toe, which I thought gave me an adequate amount of space to move my toes around, but it wasn't so big that my feet were sliding all over the place. And because of this rubber overlay on the toe box, I feel like if you were to go true to size, you'd probably feel that pressure from a top-down perspective of that rubber clamping down on top of your toenails. So in a way, I feel like it's similar to the Yeezy 700 V1. That's a shoe I also have to go up half a size because true to size, it just clamps down on top of my toes and it makes me feel very uncomfortable. But I'd say that if you're in between sizes, for example, and you have more of a narrow foot, and you really like that snug one-to-one sock-like fit, then in that case, I feel like true to size might be okay for you. Next up, in terms of the comfort of this shoe, so obviously this is an extremely bulky sneaker, and that bulkiness translates to the fit and the feel of the shoe as well. So I'm not gonna lie, wearing these, it really feels like you have a boat on your foot. So it feels extremely clunky, very heavy, and there's not too much flexibility underfoot. With that said though, there is some level of cushioning with this EVA foam, but it feels a little bit more on the stiffer side, I'd say, and there's not too much responsiveness or bounce back that I could personally feel. So while the shoe looks cool, I think functionally on feet, it's just not something I really feel is that comfortable, and it feels a little bit awkward on foot as well. Finally, in terms of the quality and the craftsmanship on this pair, so basically the entire sneaker is constructed out of synthetic materials, so from that standpoint, it just feels like a performance sneaker from the 2000s, and there's really nothing about this shoe that screams high quality. But from a build and craftsmanship standpoint, it wasn't that bad. There were some obvious glue stains on the upper of the shoe, but aside from that though, no real issues. I thought the stitch job was good, the panels were cut in place consistently, no loose threads or anything like that. So while the material quality was just meh, I'd say that the build and the craftsmanship on this shoe was on point. So with all that out of the way now, let me toss these on feet. I'll lace them up for you and I'll show you guys how these look. From a design standpoint, I think this pays homage to Adidas' Kobe line very, very well. Even though that line was taken from the 2000s, like I said in the beginning, I think it translates so well to 2023 style. With that said though, while the design of the shoe was cool, I just don't really think that it's a shoe that I would personally ever wear. It's very clunky and it feels pretty uncomfortable to me at least. So it's probably a shoe that I'll just admire on other people's feet more so than on my own. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about this Adidas Crazy Infinity 2.5 in this chalk colorway? What are your thoughts on the design and the execution of this pair? And is this a shoe that you can see yourself wearing? Is it something you appreciate but just not on your feet? Or are you just not a fan of this at all? If you guys like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on Instagram at sgo8, follow my Twitter account at sean.go, and visit my website at seango.ca. So thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review and hopefully I helped you in some way, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one.